Bridges are stronger when built from both sides.
Let's connect.
Let's connect. In the middle.
Hello and welcome to Building Bridges, a show on the Greensboro Television Network that highlights ways members of the public and members of the Greensboro Police Department can connect with each other. I'm your host, Sandra Hughes. Today we're going to talk about something that's becoming more and more popular. According to one study, 80% of us do this at least once a month, and 95% of us do this at least weekly. Wow. Can you guess what it is? It's online shopping. We love the ease of looking at all the products for sale and comparison shoppings from our computers or our mobile devices. And even though shopping has become high tech, the ancient old adage that says, let the buyer beware, still holds true. Making purchases through the internet is not without risk. If you want to know how to reduce your chances of being defrauded, scammed, or worse while cyber shopping, this is a show for you. Joining me today are two people who are very familiar with the perils of shopping off the World Wide Web. Let me introduce you to Detective J.S. Flinchum from the Greensboro Police Department and Ms. Lechelle Yates from the Better Business Bureau. Welcome to you both from on Building Bridges. I want to know more about what you do and how you're dealing with this online shopping. We'll start with you, Lechelle.
One of the best services that we have is to provide reports on businesses. So if you're looking online and there's something that you want to buy, before you hit click, go to our website and search for the business and see if they have any complaints. Honestly, I mean, that's one of the best ways that people can protect themselves is just to take a couple steps like that. So we're there 24 hours online. You can go in and search for the business, or we also take phone calls. But that's the biggest way we help.
You know, and people don't normally think of the Better Business Bureau as a place to go to for this.
No, and you know, it's something we're working on. We certainly want people to know you can call and ask for the grade. You can call and find out what the complaints are, how many complaints are there, and then if you have not called us first, you can always then file a complaint, and we can try to get your money back for you.
So, what is your department doing?
We reactive to those type of things. A lot of the internet scams that we investigate don't originate within our jurisdiction. So we're more of a reaction to when somebody has been victimized by online fraud. They purchased something, didn't get their money, or they lost money, or didn't get the product, something of that nature. So we react to that, you know, by taking a report, pointing them in the right direction to go to do follow-up on ways to try to get their money back, to help them so they won't continue to be victimized after the initial.
So let's say I go online and order something, and maybe it doesn't come. Do I call you?
I would certainly recommend that you at least file something with us because, you know, we're gonna point you in different locations and different avenues. We're gonna tell you to file a report with the Federal Trade Commission. When we also may tell you to go file something with the FBI Cybercrime Unit. These are entities that may not do an investigative process, but they compile data so that they may know where this person or this entity is at. Well, and direct you to the Better Business Bureau because we don't know sometimes if it's a local company or if it's somewhere else. They may know that. So we'll do a report because in some cases financial institutions require a police report so that they can stop any, for lack of a better term, bleeding of your money. So.
Well, and one of the great things too, I mean, I don't want people to feel like that, you know, because the FTC or the FBI doesn't do anything per se, like, you know, they don't catch the person that scammed you. They're keeping track and they're building files and cases on these people. Yep. And you'll see, I love it every time I see a press release from the FTC that says, you know, they've come out and they've stopped somebody who does those free trial offers and you end up paying $180 for face cream or something like that.
So, do people call you that have been scammed or whatever, or are you looking at the legal people who are saying, like the FBI?
We look at everything, but we do get a lot of people. We also, BBB has something called Scam Tracker, and so we encourage people to, if they've gotten that IRS phone call, or you know they've bought something online and they didn't get the product, we want them to file a complaint on Scam Tracker, and then we can see, is this a real business that's doing something wrong, or is it a fake business that's also taking your money? You know, the other thing that we'll tell people to do is if you buy something and you don't get the product, obviously you want to contest with your credit card company, and we can talk about credit versus debit, but contest with your credit card company. And then the banking commission told me something very interesting. Don't just dispute the charge, call it fraud. The bank wants to hear the word fraud, and then that way it doesn't matter. It could be more than 60, 90, 100 days before you actually call your credit card and tell them that there's a problem, but use the word fraud.
You know, one of the things I've lived with is if you have a credit card and somehow something gets bought on it, the credit card the company will say, we noticed that you spent $1 million, and we know you don't normally spend $1 million. Is this really you? So is that one of the things we need to look for?
Definitely. You definitely want to keep an eye out for statements from your bank or your credit card company. But the other thing is kind of gone those days where you could look at your statement at the end of the month. You need to be checking every couple of days to see if there's purchases, because sometimes the bank's not going to catch it.
Okay.
And the other thing too is you mentioned that they would call and ask you, we see unusual activity on your bank. Okay, thank you, hang up. Then you call the bank with the number that you know to be valid and ask them, hey, I just got a call from you guys.
Let's say that again, because I thought if the bank calls and says you've got unusual activity, that was the biggie, but it's not.
No, it's an alert. Hey, okay, thank you, hang up. Go pull your credit card statement up or flip your credit card over to back, call that number. Because I can call anybody using any number that's out there, and it'll look like it's coming from your bank, but it may not be. Especially, and you know, they call you and say, we've noticed unusual activity, give us your credit card number. Well, if I'm the bank, don't I already know that? So I would highly recommend, okay, thanks, hang up. Call the number that you know to be the right number and say, hey, I just got a phone call from you guys. And trust me, financial institutions will work with you, and they'd rather you do that.
Well, and then it's not just phone calls, but text messages will say they're from your bank, and then you log in, and not only may you give away information, you know, by text, but they could hack into your mobile device and get account numbers, passwords. There's all kinds of bad things that they
You guys
can
are
do.
scaring me to death here. I'll tell you. So how big is this problem?
God, it's pretty big. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy to commit, but it's not very difficult if you take the time to do it. It's bigger than I can imagine. I mean, it's probably bigger than most of the three of us could sit here and imagine, especially starting now. We're getting into that shopping season. The brick and mortar buildings aren't being visited as much now. A lot of people are wanting to do online. It's more convenient. You can do the comparison shopping, you know, pull up Walmart, Target, whatever. So I think it's probably bigger than most people realize.
Well, and I would say in our office at the Better Business Bureau, we had one of our employees last year for Christmas ordered something and never got it. And then it turns out she ordered it from a site in China that has all these complaints. So it's like, you know, we work with complaints every day and with people who've been victimized. And then, you know, it was 1, 2, 3 for her to do it. So I think it's a really big problem that you have to be aware of.
It's a really scary problem, and I'm thinking bigger than what we've seen like in the last 20, 30 years.
I think that that's possible. You know, it seems like they come up with a new way every day. The media, BBB, police, we tell people, watch out for this. And it's like the next day, they're out there with something else. Right. So you just always have to be aware.
So the scammers don't fall off because they didn't get it right. They just keep working at it to get it right.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah. Oh, God, yes. When it first started, the first clue was the grammar. I mean, years ago when internet frauds first started, the grammar was atrocious.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, I struggle with the English language. So, but I mean, it was, you would be reading an email or a website, and I mean, immediately you would know whoever did this, English was not their first language.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it would say, like, one of the big ones was, not picking on Bank of America, but one of the big ones a few years ago was the Bank of America. And if you got that email and clicked on it, you went to a page that at first glance was Bank of America until you started reading it. And you're like, holy smokes. You know, this is a large corporation in the United States. Surely they have somebody reading what they post. I mean, those were the tall tale signs.
Grammar is bad.
Grammar,
spelling.
Oh, yeah. The
Run-on
punctuations.
sentences.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
But honestly, I mean, I still see that when somebody, you know, contacts us and I start looking at some of these sites, I'll find it and it's like, well, there's a giveaway. There's a giveaway. It's not as frequent, but it still can happen. That's definitely one thing. If you're not going to come to the BBB or Google the company name and complaints, then at least take some steps like that to, you know, to look for bad language. The other thing that is a tip off too is if there's no phone number, but especially an address listed anywhere on the website to contact us, because then if you reach out to us, we don't have any place to send the complaint. There's no physical address.
So when I contact you, what are you going to do for me?
Well, we're going to, one, take the report. We're going to see if there's other people that have had the same problem. We're going to tell you to contact your credit card company and say this is fraud. And then we're going to try to reach out to the company too and see if we can't get a result. Sometimes the scammers don't want all of these complaints because 2 out of the 3 people may not contact us. So they've taken money from the 2 people, but not from this one person. So we can also help you get your money back as well, but then also tell you the other steps to take.
But the name fraud.
Fraud.
I call it fraud.
Yes.
Okay. How much trouble are we in with online shopping?
Well, it's not going away. It's going to get bigger because it's so convenient. People love to do it.
Yes, I love to do it.
I just think if you take the right steps, you follow some of the recommendations, and take the time to really look at what you're doing, I think that you can shop online and shop online safely and not have to worry about losing your money, not getting the product. I just think if you take a little bit of effort into it, and if you question something just don't seem right, you can either contact the BBB or you can contact the police department. We don't know about all of them, but we do get calls from people, and they'll say, hey, I was at such and such website and it didn't look right, and we'll go look at it and we're like, yeah, this looks kind of fishy to me, so you need to avoid that one.
Yeah.
So
Nowadays, when I open the computer and look at my emails, everything, there are a million sites there that says, come do this, come make yourself look better, come make yourself dress better. Should I be afraid of those?
I think healthy skepticism might be a good phrase for it. Don't be afraid, but just be aware that there's the possibility with every single email, even if it looks like it's coming from a company that you know, could actually be fraud. And one of the things that we see a lot are people that click on ads on Facebook, or their friend has sent them a Facebook link to buy something, and just because it's on Facebook doesn't mean it's real. You can still lose your money.
Oh yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
frightening. Right now I want to stop the show and run home and get on the computer and see what have I done. What am I about to lose? What would be the number one thing that you would tell our viewers today?
To avoid being victimized?
To avoid being victimized.
Wow, there's so many things that I try to tell people to do. If you get an email like you were referencing, if you didn't ask for it, delete it. Don't open it. If you're shopping,
is opening it a problem?
It could be. Malicious software could be included in there. And the other thing too is if you open one of those emails and you're like, oh, you didn't request it, but it's something that you're interested in, and they got what they call the hyperlinks on there. You really don't know where that's taking you. You have to be able to read the address. It's called the URL, because what you see may be different than what the computer sees. So it can take, you think you're going to Target, Walmart, whatever the case may be, but you're actually going to another website that looks like that. I would definitely say if you didn't ask for it, don't respond to it, delete it. Just like the old lottery scams. If you don't enter a lottery, how can you win it? So
or apply for a grant.
Yeah, absolutely. Any of those things, get rid of them. If you're contacted by a financial institute, text message, cell phone, home phone, email, you didn't originate that, okay, thank you, hang up, then you contact the number that you know to be valid.
Well, and I think one of the best tips that I've ever heard you give is to get a separate credit card just for online shopping. Talk about that.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that you never use a debit card. That's your money. So if you've got $1,000 in your checking account, your debit card's linked to your checking account, and somebody gets that information, they're taking your $1,000, and it could be some time before you get that money back. So I would certainly, if you can do it, get a separate credit card. Use it solely for online purchases, and don't have a high dollar amount. Have a low limit. And
I've
like
had
she
the
said,
bank tell me that before.
Yes.
And they gave me a card that says, put just enough money on this card for the thing you're buying.
Absolutely.
And after that, if you don't get it, then this card didn't have any more money to it.
Absolutely. So, and what she said was that, check your account balance frequently. Don't wait till you get that statement at the end of the month. Check it once or twice a week, because it's prudent of you to catch that. Because the sooner you catch it, the less likely you are to be continually being a victim of fraud.
We're all scared to death. I mean, you know, with this kind of information, it makes us frightening, especially with the holidays coming up. When, honestly, I was thinking about doing a lot of online shopping for the holidays. Are you saying don't do that?
Oh gosh, no. I would say just really be aware that there are dangers out there. But no, I mean, online shopping is great. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to, you know, make sure. I had this instance the other day. I wanted to buy some really inexpensive shoes, so I was Googling, you know, like cheap boots, and found a website. Never heard of it. Shoes were awesome. There were no like, you know, obvious signs that it was a bad website. There wasn't any, you know, they had a physical address. There wasn't bad grammar. And then I thought, but you know what? I'm just going to go see if we have any complaints about this website. And sure enough, we did. So, yeah, but I mean, I took that step. I could have just, you know, gotten carried away in the moment and just hit send.
It sounded good.
It sounded great.
Yeah, it sure does.
So, you know, people just have to be careful. I mean, it's our responsibility now, unfortunately, to be safe. But there are ways that you can protect yourself.
I mean, I look at the way things are now and the way things were when I was a young adult. It's just not the same anymore. It sounds pretty, but it's not the same. Okay, well, you provided some very, very important information that hopefully will keep consumers safe as they buy through the internet. But we know that there are some unscrupulous, I hate to say it, kind of people out there who will take advantage of all of this, advantage of the people who want to do this easy internet shopping. We'll be back in just a minute to give you some more information. Stay with us. Welcome back to Building Bridges, a monthly show that brings together police and community members to make our city safer. I'm your host, Sandra Hughes. Now, before the break, we had a very informative discussion about how to shop smart and safe over the web. But sadly, no matter how many steps we take to protect ourselves, there will be someone in cyberland determined to take advantage of us. So, what should you do if you think you have been defrauded by an online business? Detective Flinchum and Ms. Yates are here to tell you what you need to do about that. I'm so glad you're here because you're telling me things that I hadn't thought of. But obviously, all of us are at risk, right?
Definitely. One of the newest things that we're seeing for online shopping are websites that are selling fake merchandise. So counterfeit purses, jerseys, it'll say it's from such and such team, and it looks really good online, but it's a fake. So you're paying top dollar, or maybe just a little bit less than what you might pay on a real website, a site that's selling authentic. And that's how they lure us in. We're like, oh, we're going to save $10. So
are you talking about things like Michael Kors or Coach or those kind of things?
Yeah, jerseys from any sports team. That's a big one. That was actually a big scam last year, so we expect to see it pop up again this year. So yeah, so counterfeit merchandise of all sorts.
So how do they get on the internet?
Oh, anybody can have a website. I mean, GoDaddy, any of those domains, you go there and you get it set up a website. You don't even have to know how to do a web page. I mean, there's programs out there that will show you step by step, point and click, and next thing you know, you're in business. You got a website that's up and running, looks professional. You can do the link so that when people make credit card payments, you're getting information instantaneously. I mean, it's just a trove of information out there that you can do to make your own website. It's so easy, and you can do it in certain ways so that it's kind of anonymous. So I mean, it's not that difficult to set up a website anymore. And that's when us as the consumers have to be prudent in what we're looking at when we look at those websites. Used to tell folks, if the hair on the back of your neck stands up, something's not right. So if you're on there and you're looking at a jersey that at NFL.com costs $100 and you're at NFLX.com and it's $50, you know, the odds are you're about to get ripped off in some shape, form, or manner. You're either going to lose $50 completely, or you're going to get a merchandise that is not double stitched, it's single stitched, and the first time you wash it, it comes apart on you or
The patch is
shrinks.
just small.
Yeah, something that's just, you're like, wait a minute, I didn't pay for this. Well, actually you did, so, but just be careful.
And we call those look-alike websites. The name will be very close, like the URL will be. It'll be really close to what the actual website is to fool you into thinking that you're going to the real website. Right. So you have to look out for that.
Right. That's horrible.
Well,
That's
and the thing that she referenced there, the URL, that can be confusing to folks that aren't technically savvy.
Right.
The URL is called the Universal Routing Locator. That's the www dot that we know. When we type it in, like on this piece of paper here, you see the www.bbb.org.
Let me hold that up.
Sure. And the things in there you have to look at, that you have to know that, like Ms. Yates said, if it's close, like you go to the BBB, and there's a fourth B in there. So, I mean, it's close, or it's not. If you were to, what you're seeing right there is just part of their web address. There's additional information that may be attached to that or beyond that you can't see just by looking in where you type in www. You'd have to do certain things to be able to look at it. One of the things you want to look at in a website when you're looking at it is a country code. Does it say .ca, .ru? Because in that case, you're dealing with a website that's no longer in the United States.
So if you put in football jersey, you don't put any wwws in there. Just put football jersey. So are you maybe ending up somewhere you don't want to be?
You could, because you go to Google and you type in football jerseys. You get a whole list of sites back there. Typically on Google, they have, and if you're running, I don't know if I can endorse a security software over another, but let's take Norton, for example. They have on the side, when you do a website search on Google, it'll tell you that website is safe or suspicious.
I see.
And those entities get that information from other entities such as the Better Business Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission's, the FBI's Internet Crimes Unit. They get that information saying, hey, this is questionable or this is a safe, legitimate website. They verify that it is. When you click on that www.footballjersey.com, that you're going to the official footballjersey.com website, not some website that's in some other country.
See, that's interesting because I never knew that. I would put in football jersey. And so
And you
there's
would
no
think
telling.
any link that comes up
Yeah,
is
no
safe
telling
to
where
buy
I'd end
from.
up.
Yeah.
What are the most common complaints or problems that you are getting about the shopping online?
I would say buying merchandise and it never showing up. That's probably the biggest complaint that we get.
Goodness. And you?
We see the whole gambit. Not getting merchandise is not what they bought. They purchased something and their credit card now got double charged and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, there's not one that I would say is over the other. I don't want to say it's easy to commit, but it sure seems that way.
Yeah.
It sure seems that way.
Would you say to our viewers now who are about to start online holiday shopping, don't do it?
Oh gosh, no. I'm going to do it. You just have to be smart. Just think about
What's number one smart?
number one smart. Get a credit card that has a low limit and use that for shopping. That way, in case your card is compromised, you're not going to lose a lot of money. And two, I would say just, do your due diligence. Don't be greedy and think, oh, well, it's $10 cheaper, so I'm going to jump on it. Just, step back for a second and think, and, is there bad grammar? What is the link? Have there been any complaints? I mean, it's a couple easy steps. I mean, it's not going to take you all day to figure out if you should buy from one website. It's just think about it 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. And
Google
you?
it. Google the website.
Yep.
Google, what do you mean, Google?
Take into Google, type in the Google search term, put that website in there, see what you get.
Yep.
You'd be surprised at the amount of information that's out there about telephone numbers, the websites that are not legitimate that people have gotten ripped off from. They post things out there on social media, Facebook, wherever. I mean, it's all out there. And when you do a Google search, Google is really good about going out to different places, well, almost literally everywhere on the internet, and retrieving data back. And you'd be shocked at what's out there. People put out there, I bought something, it didn't work. I mean, it's just, I would Google a website. I'd do the credit card. And the other thing I would add is get you a separate email address. The email address doesn't cost anything. Get one that you're going to set up just for doing your online shopping. And that way, if you start getting junk email in it, it's not mixed in with your mail from relatives and friends and families. I would always do that. Keep an email address that you just give to family and close friends, and then have another one that you give out everywhere else. Because that way, if you get an email in that one email account, it's probably a legitimate email. But if you start getting all this other junk in these other email accounts, then hey, I'd avoid those.
Well, I have that email account, that when I go to it, it's like 2 million messages in here, and there are people that I never contacted and I never wanted to hear from, but obviously somehow they're getting into that email. So maybe just get rid of them. And you can go through and unsubscribe, but they still come back. They still come back.
You can block them. They find ways to get around all that.
Yes. Well, how are you feeling about people using their computers for online shopping?
I can see both sides. I think that, it's so easy now with your mobile devices especially. I mean, you can be anywhere and you can be looking something up and protecting yourself. So that's great. You can look to see if the business has complaints. But it does open you up to, on the other hand, it does make you vulnerable because you are, you could be putting in your personal information into a fake website. You could be putting a credit card number in there that gets hacked because you've used a non-secure website. So there's definitely dangers out there. But I think, if people do just take a couple minutes to protect themselves, you just have to think about it. And, some people are like, why do I have to do it? The dangers are out there, so don't feel put upon, but take some personal responsibility and do a couple, couple steps.
Yeah,
And what's your advice?
Remember, years ago, we would tell folks, when you go shopping, don't take everything you own in your purse or your wallet.
That's right. Yep.
Keep your money in your front pocket. Don't go alone. If you're going through the store and you got your purse open, and don't turn your back on it. So we've gotten used to taking those personal safety measures.
Yes.
Now we've got to transfer that over into the cyber world. We got to learn how to protect ourselves. How do we do that? We do the credit card. We go to the valid websites. We do our research before we purchase. We contact the BBB or anything else out there that would tell us, this is a legitimate website. I'm going to do business with them. We have to take that on our own now. We're going to save that $10. Okay, well, save that $10. You got to do something to protect yourself.
That's great advice. I didn't think about the old steps that we used to take and just transferring to current day.
Absolutely.
My grandmother used to put money in her handkerchief and then took it in her bra. And so I guess nobody really thought to look for it there.
And that is physical.
Yeah.
That's something I can look at and I can see with my hands and my eyes. I can touch with my hands. Cyber thing, it's ones and zeros.
Yeah.
And people can't, you gotta protect that. It's tangible. It's not just ones and zeros that float through the air. It's tangible. You got to protect that. Because if you're a victim of identity theft, that's a gift that's going to give and give and give. It's going to take you at least a year to get all that mess straightened out and stuff. And even then, it may follow you longer than that. And you're just going to feel like you're continuously being victimized.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Once you get scammed or hacked or whatever you want to call it, how long does it take to get yourself back together?
I mean, it depends. If you've used a credit card, your credit card company is pretty good about, if you call them and say, hey, I didn't make this purchase, they're pretty good about taking that off. But if you've used your debit card, it can take weeks. And you do need that fraud report with the police to prove that it was fraud. And just think about all of the cascading effect. If you were going to use the money in your checking account that just got stolen because you used your debit card, well, maybe you were going to use that money to pay rent and all of these other things.
Yes.
So, it's just a cascading effect.
I remember one Thanksgiving on Friday, I didn't go shopping, but then by Monday, the credit card company called me and said, did you order $800 worth of fragrances online? And I said, no. And they said, we didn't think, in other words, your habits don't look like that.
Yeah.
And so, they took it off. They just said, we won't ask you to pay for that because obviously somebody got your number and was able to use it to buy a lot of fragrances online.
Well, and I've read too that fraudsters are looking more at trying to get those numbers where they can do online shopping because we have the chip cards now.
Yes.
And so the data is encrypted, so they're not trying to get the number, they're trying to set up accounts, or they're looking for ways, they're not going to go in the store anymore and purchase something, they're going to do it all online.
Well, the credit card company told me this had been done online, that somebody had, smelling really good on my account.
I do worry about at the holidays, it's not just like websites that you might go to where you could run into a problem and be a victim. It's like you've got Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace now, Let Go. I mean, there's so many opportunities if you don't want to go to that big nationally known site to go out and buy presents, because people are going to start advertising stuff. But you just have to be so careful. You've got, I think, the very best tip.
Yeah, if you're going to buy something off of Craigslist and you and I agree that we're going to do business together, let's meet at the police department. You know,
And then I'm thinking, oh, no.
Yeah, if you're a criminal, you're going to be like, no, I don't want to meet there.
Exactly.
But if you got nothing to hide, you'll meet at the police department. It gives both people protection. Everybody's protected. It's on surveillance videos. There's a police officer generally around that can help, you know, and I mean, it's a much safer environment.
So you're not saying don't buy from those sites?
No, I'm not going to say that, because there are legitimate people out there that are doing business on Craigslist, PayPal, or not PayPal, but eBay, and they're legitimate, and they're honestly going to sell you something. You know, they want to do business with you. But if you and I are doing business, and I've got nothing to hide, and you say, well, I want to buy that new cell phone from you. Let's meet at such and such police station. And okay, fine. But you know, if they say to you, no, okay, then you're not out any money. You've just avoided being victimized. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Or if they want, let's meet at a shopping center parking lot, an apartment complex, anything like that. I would highly recommend you don't do that. Don't go alone. Don't go alone by no means. You take somebody with you, maybe a third person, and sit in a car and sit back and watch. Make sure that somebody's there that can call for assistance if you need it. But if you do it in a police department, I'm not going to say there's a 100% guarantee, but the odds are that it's a much better thing to do there than it would be out in a dark parking lot somewhere. You know, you don't know what you're walking into.
Well, I can tell you, this show today has me thinking, oh, I better not do anything. I better not charge anything. Make me feel better, Lechelle.
You know, I am an avid online shopper. And of course, I'm going to say this, and you know, this is going to happen, but I've never had a problem. But I have taken the steps to protect myself.
I see.
I could have easily lost money on those boots that I wanted that were cheap if I hadn't checked to see that other people were complaining about this website, and you know, it was overseas, so there was no way I was going to get my money.
Well, you two have been delightful today. Scary, but delightful, giving me information to keep from me looking at my credit situation after the holidays and thinking, oh my gosh, you know, what happened to me? So thank you for the information. How can people get in touch with you if they have questions?
The easiest way is just to go to bbb.org. And of course, you know, we're online 24 hours a day, and you can look up businesses, you can file complaints, you can go to Scam Tracker. We also have a local number. Happy to talk to people when they call, and it's 336-852-4240.
Say that again.
336-852-4240.
Okay. And what about you?
Well, if you're a victim of a crime, obviously, if it's not emergency, don't dial 911. If it is an emergency, of course, dial 911. If it's not, you know, call our non-emergency number, 336-373-2222. And I'll put
Once
you
again.
in. Sure. 336-373-2222.
Okay.
And that'll get you in touch with a communicator, and you know, you can get your case, start the whole process at that point in time. I would highly recommend that. But if you're standing out there and you made that decision to meet in the dark parking lot, and you're standing there and they just stole your car and the money and whatever, and you're standing there, the only thing they left you with was a cell phone, by all means, dial 911. So, absolutely.
Ooh, okay, like I said, I was scared before. Now you're really getting to me. I thank you very much for joining us today. And you too, Lechelle and I worked at WFMY News 2 for a while together, and she was always right on the money all the time. So it's great to have you here on the set today. It was great. Well, I hope you heard lots of information about what you can do to keep yourself safe when you're shopping online, especially with this holiday season coming up, where I think I probably, like you, spend more money on gifts and stuff than ever before. Thank you for watching us today. Don't forget to call them if you have a question. And until next time, I'm Sandra Hughes. Be safe.
This show was funded in part by the Greensboro Police Foundation, an independent nonprofit organization whose mission is to enhance Greensboro's economic strength by promoting the safest city possible for its residents, workers, and visitors through support of the Greensboro Police Department. For more information about the Greensboro Police Foundation, visit www.greensboropolicefoundation.org.